welcome to today's testing notebook. Day 3 has just finished and we are going to go straight into today's action because there wasn't any breaking news stories to alert you with. So, despite Red Bull having a very good day yesterday, they had a disastrous day. Yesterday they managed to do 66 laps. Today they could only do 4 corners. So yet again, as I said, they had a disastrous day. It took 2.5 hours for Red Bull to get out of the garage. And once they did get out of the garage, they only completed the 4 corners, which I've just said. Then 45 minutes later, they thought they'd fixed the problem, but Vettel broke down at the end of the pit lane and therefore had to be pushed back towards the garage, for disappointment for the Red Bull team. It was confirmed that morning that what stopped Sebastian Vettel on track is that he had a battery problem which, hampered Vettel today. But then they found a secondary problem. But they weren't able to confirm what that problem was. But it stopped the running for the entire day. So it could only really be a problem with the power unit or the gearbox itself. So maybe a Renault-inflicted problem. Stopping Red Bull today from actually getting any running in for a total 8-hour session. And they weren't the only Renault team to have problems today. Lotus also stopped running with Romain Grosjean early again. So the Renault-powered engines definitely seem to be hitting hard on the Lotus cars at the moment and any Renault car, apart from the Caterhams who completed a staggering 117 laps today. But Grosjean managed to only complete 33 laps today in his Lotus, so it definitely says that Red Bull having some problems, Lotus still having some problems, and at the moment Christian Horner had an interview today and they asked him, what are your aims for Melbourne? And he said, making the checkered flag. It didn't say points, didn't say, we're going to go for podiums or wins, making the checkered flag. So what can we read into that? Is that are they just hoping, and with pace-wise, we're thinking that they might not even get out of Q1, maybe low positions of Q2 at the moment, so it's very interesting to see. So we're going to move on pretty early in this podcast to the times. We're going to look at the times for today's session. Felipe Massa in the Williams was quickest. It was a really good day for Felipe Massa, completing 1 minute 33.2, and he did a staggering 99 laps today. Williams are up there this year. You can definitely tell that, with the Mercedes package, they've got a car and they could be challenging this season. And with that time that Massa actually did is the quickest time this weekend. So, actually throughout the whole testing itself, throughout Bahrain, even including last week, he was quicker than Rosberg's time of last week's of 1 minute 33.2 by a couple of hundredths of a tenths of a second. So Rosberg was second with 1 minute 33.4, completing 103 laps today. Raikkonen was third with a 1 minute 35.4, completing 87 laps. Magnussen was fourth with 1 minute 35.8, completing 88 laps. Danny Fiat was fifth, completing 81 laps with a 1 minute 36.1. Nico Hulkenberg, so Force India after the first 2 days being on the top of the time sheets, now down in 6th place with 1 minute 36.2, but Hulkenberg completed 115 laps today. Bianchi was 7th with 1 minute 37.0, completing 78 laps, further confirming that Marussia seemed to be picking up some reliability issues and fixing them. So good stuff for Marussia. Marcus Ericsson with 1 minute 38.0, his quickest time throughout the whole Bahrain test. He was only in the 1 minute 42s. For every time he was in the car, he was in the 1 minute 42s. So today he managed to break that duct and was into the 38s, the low 38s of 1 minute 38.0. And for a Renault powered engine, he completed a staggering 117 laps. So really good today for Marcus Ericsson. Romain Grosjean was 9th, completing only 33 laps. Yet again, problems for Lotus, completing at 1 minute 42.1. Adrian Sutil did not have any time posted today, basically because on his installation lap, he had an engine fire, and that engine fire cost Sauber that chance to actually do any meaningful running today because the engine was gone. Changed the engine, it was all gone, it was all destroyed because of the fire. So their day was ended, and of course, down in 11th place with no time today, no laps, only 4 corners completed. Sebastian Vettel. Unbelievable. And you know what was quite actually funny? He said he was heard saying today that when he was given a lift back to the pit lane once he'd broken down, he said to the person, that the driver who gave him a lift back, he said to him, thank you very much, but hopefully this is the last I'll see of you today. And I didn't think that Sebastian Vettel, when he said that, meant that this is going to be the last you see of me today because we're not going to venture back on track. I think he was obviously thinking that they were going to go back on track and he was going to be able to do something else and hopefully not break down, but that was not the case. So as I said, I've said Sauber's problem. So Williams shows some really quick pace. As I said, the fastest lap throughout the whole test. They've really done well, Williams. I have to say, the car looks really good. And I think, they're shocking a few people. Obviously, they had the Mercedes package. And they've been saying that performance-wise, we think Mercedes are quickest, followed by the McLarens, followed by Ferrari in third. And then it's a fight between Williams and Force India for fourth place. But how close are Williams to Ferrari or McLaren or even Mercedes? How close are they? That's what we want to know. That's what we want to find out. That's why it's so exciting at the moment, because we don't know how close they are, how close the Mercedes power unit teams are close to each other. Are they not close to each other at all? That's what we want to find out. And with Williams posting that time today, it shows that maybe they could be closer to the leading teams than we think at the moment so far. As I said, Caterham completing 117 laps, which is, the most for any Renault power for the team for the mileage. You never know, though. Could Caterham actually be helping Red Bull out? Because if Renault can then look at Caterham's data and say, okay, this is what's going on, and find maybe an issue that they can't find by looking at the data of the Red Bull car, you never know. The Caterham car might actually help the Red Bull car, because obviously the Renault people will be sharing data and information from all the cars that they've got. So they might, with that 117 laps from Marcus Ericsson today, that could unlock something for Red Bull in order to maybe fix any engine problems. Obviously performance now is mandated, you can't touch it, but reliability wise, they might be able to find something. They can change stuff for reliability. That is very key. So, they might improve the reliability of the engine, and they must have some good data from the Caterham car today. But it is all getting very exciting as we now head into the last day of testing tomorrow. How will Red Bull fare? We'll have to find out. And you have to join me tomorrow now to find out what happens in the last day of testing. 8 hours to go until the cars start their engines again in Melbourne. So thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I will see you tomorrow for the final day of testing. Please remember to like, favourite and subscribe to F1 Breakdown, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.